Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're putting you directly in the jump seat of a completely chaotic, high-pressure situation to deconstruct exactly how to master crisis management. I mean, when everything goes wrong at exactly the same time, how do you even begin to decide what to fix first?
So picture this. You're a cabin crew member on flight EK-261. It's a long-haul journey packed with passengers heading to Sao Paulo. You're cruising at 30,000 feet where, calling for backup really isn't an option. And suddenly, 6 totally different problems explode in the cabin all at once. What would you do?
Section 1. Chaos on Flights EK-261. You're hit with this massive barrage of simultaneous demands. First off, we've got a passenger who's had way too much to drink and is getting loud and aggressive. Meanwhile, a mother is desperately trying to get hot water for her crying baby's bottle. Across the aisle, an elderly passenger is feeling weak and unsteady, urgently needing help to the bathroom. Oh, and you've got a very anxious first-time flyer firing off a million questions at you. And just to make things fun, your own manager is traveling in economy, is absolutely furious about not getting a business class upgrade, and is actively making things worse. And the cherry on top, there is an unaccompanied minor traveling entirely alone. But wait, it gets worse. These issues aren't just happening in their own little bubbles. They are physically colliding. The unaccompanied minor is actually seated right next to that loud, aggressive, drunk passenger, and the kid is visibly distressed. Section 2. The Prioritization Framework. Now, if you just react to whoever happens to be yelling the loudest, you're going to lose control of that cabin entirely. We need an anchor. This quote right here, pulled straight from our source materials group discussion, perfectly captures our guiding philosophy: safety, security, well-being, and customer service. And let me tell you, that specific order, it's not just a suggestion, it's absolute. We can translate those foundational pillars into a really solid 3-tier triage system to tackle these 6 passengers logically. Tier 1 is immediate safety, Tier 2 is passenger well-being, and Tier 3 is customer service. By filtering all this chaos through these 3 simple steps, an impossible situation suddenly becomes completely manageable. Triage tier, immediate safety. Priority number 1 is non-negotiable. It absolutely supersedes a crying baby, and it definitely supersedes a complaining boss. It goes straight to the most vulnerable person on board. Look at what we're dealing with here. We have the urgent emotional and physical need of a frightened kid pitted directly against an active, highly unpredictable threat from the drunk passenger. It is incredibly combustible. The child feels unsafe, and fixing that is your absolute ultimate mandate. So, your highest priority action? You have to immediately break that physical proximity. Step 1, extract that unaccompanied minor from the danger zone right away. Step 2, reassure them that they're safe. And Step 3, you need to keep a close eye on their well-being for the rest of the flight. Okay, with the vulnerable child moved and safe, priority number 2 shifts entirely to neutralizing the active threat in the cabin. When it comes to the drunken aggressive passenger, there is a very strict protocol. You must immediately cut off all alcohol service to them, no exceptions. You approach them, speak calmly and professionally to de-escalate things, and be super careful not to provoke them further. Monitor their behavior like a hawk, and crucially, inform the senior cabin crew and follow official airline reporting procedures. Containment is the name of the game here. Triage tier, passenger well-being. All right, with the immediate safety threats handled, we can all finally take a breath. Moving into Tier 2, priority number 3 goes to a situation that isn't a malicious threat, but carries a really high risk of accidental physical harm: the elderly passenger who's feeling weak and unsteady. A sudden bout of turbulence or just a simple loss of balance could lead to a severe injury here. We need to physically and safely assist them to the bathroom. And while we're doing that, we actually have to assess their condition. Is this just normal travel fatigue, or do we need to escalate this to a full-on medical intervention? Right behind them, coming in at priority number 4, is the mother with the crying baby. Now, a crying baby might feel like the most urgent and definitely the loudest problem in the cabin, but remember our anchor, it's a well-being issue, not a direct safety threat. But by quickly grabbing that hot water for the bottle, you help the mother settle the infant. And honestly, quieting a crying baby instantly lowers the stress level for the entire cabin, which keeps everyone else from getting agitated. Triage tier, customer service. Finally, we are in Tier 3. Nobody is in physical distress anymore, but people definitely still need our attention. We're down to our last 2 passengers, the anxious first-time flyer, and the unhappy manager. The nervous flyer really needs our empathy, reassurance, and maybe just a few answers about flight duration and safety. And you know what? Genuine empathy for anxiety will always rank higher than addressing a simple complaint. So here is the crucial takeaway. Your own manager might be making your life miserable by complaining about a missed upgrade, but a bruised ego is just not a flight emergency. You politely acknowledge their concern. You explain that upgrades are subject to availability, but you only address this after every single safety and well-being issue on that aircraft is completely wrapped up. And just like that, look at what we've accomplished. By relentlessly sticking to our prioritization framework, we've taken a totally chaotic, overwhelming cabin and turned it back into a highly controlled environment. The minor is safe, the drunk passenger is cut off and monitored, the elderly passenger has been assisted, the baby is finally settled, the first-timer is feeling reassured, and the manager has been acknowledged. Order is completely restored. The lesson from Flight EK261 honestly goes way beyond aviation. Whether you're managing a crisis at 30,000 feet or you're literally just trying to survive an overwhelming Monday at your desk, having a predefined anchor of core values is absolutely the only way to triage chaos. You have to know your non-negotiables before the emergency hits. So, looking at your own daily life and the crazy demands pulling at you, what is your anchor?